Good evening, everyone. All right, I'm gonna get ready while y'all file in. Good evening, everyone. All right, I'm gonna get ready while y'all file in. All right, 5 people on already. Awesome. Okay, so today we're just going to do a quick update. There are a few things I have on my agenda that I'll go over. Let's see, I've got some stuff over here. All right, where do we sign the petition in Jonesboro? All right, Mr. Garrett, thank you for joining us. I do have volunteers over in Jonesboro already. I'll make sure I can get you hooked up with one of those volunteers. And then another option as well is to go ahead and just go onto my website, click signature collection underneath the tabs, and you can actually print your own. You can, print it, sign it, have your friends and family sign it, and then mail it to our P.O. box as well. So let's see here. All right. Thank you for joining us, Mika. So, update. All right. The first thing on the update is my new campaign store. So our store is online. It's up and going at my website. You can just hit store through the tabs. And in the store, I've got a few different campaign materials that y'all can purchase. I have my good old-fashioned, my original bumper stickers. I've got a few of them left that are like limited edition. I don't think I'll have any more of these. Just because it says Daniel Whitfield instead of Dan Whitfield. But I do have some of those bumper stickers there. Let's see what else we've got here. I've got these Dan Whitfield for U.S. Senate bumper stickers as well.
That's me.
Let's see. Yeah, these ones are really cool. It's got a flag on there. I like them. All right. So we've got those ones there. Which are these? These are some more of those. And some more. All right. And then I've got these bumper stickers here as well. These ones just say replace Tom Cotton. And then they have my name on there. I'm independent for U.S. Senate. So these ones are pretty cool too. A little more white and less red on them. And then I've got one other sticker. I wasn't sure how popular the last sticker would be, so I didn't order quite as many. But it's my personal favorite. It's the one I'm going to put on my car. Let's see here. All right. Yeah, I'm going to put these ones on my car here. These ones are Tom Cotton is bad for America. I love it. It's perfect. It's to the point. It's very accurate. And, this is why I'm running right here, because he is bad for America and bad for his constituents. So I've got a few different bumper stickers you can order now. You can choose whichever you want. You can decide to put 2 of them or 3 of them or all 4 on your car. Show a little bit of a support of pride. And then I also have some window decals. So I purchased these as well, and you can purchase these on the store. So these are perforated window decals for your car. All right. So this is basically my new logo thanks to Mr. Ryan. It just says Dan Whitfield, independent for U.S. Senate, Arkansas, and then has my website, Replace Tom Cotton, at the bottom. They are 12 by 18 inches, so make sure you measure your car and they can actually fit on there before you get them, because they're a little bit big. Just want to make sure that they were big enough for people to actually see and read.
You're talking to us.
So, all right. So that is what's going on with my store right now. You can purchase the decals, bumper stickers. I also ordered some car magnets if you don't want to put a sticker on your car. The magnets are going to be about the size of a sheet of paper. So they'll be about this size here. And they're the exact same as the window decals, the same logo on them. So if you want a car magnet, you can get one of those as well. And those are nice because you can just stick it on your car and pull it off. So, yeah, that's our store. I lowered the prices on the bumper stickers down to $5. And then I put the window decal at $25 and the magnets at $20. Now, they are, a little bit more, a little expensive. I marked them up about 100%, so they're twice as much. And the reason for this is this money is going directly into our campaign donations. So you're not just buying, cool swag, you're supporting our campaign at the same time. So that's our store. I'm super excited about it, and I'm really happy to put all these things on my car. I hope you guys are going to be happy to do the same. So that's first update is the store.
You need to put the t-shirt though.
And I do have some t-shirts. I'll get the ones I have currently up on the website here soon. And then I'm working with my marketer right now on some other t-shirts, some really cool ones that you can just wear to the store, wear to school, whatever. They'll have some cool hashtags on them. Maybe hashtag Tom Cotton's Bad for America. Not quite sure yet. We haven't really decided. But I'll have a few different ones and hats and some cool clothing coming out soon. So that's our store. The next thing to go over are signature collections, because it's always a good thing to talk about them. So we begin collecting signatures on February 1st. It's just a couple weeks away, and it's going by really fast. So make sure you're ready. Get ready with your teams in your local areas. Let's get organized. Let's be prepared. I've had, some volunteers tell me that they took a binder to church before we found out that those signatures were no bueno. So they took a binder to church, and they had a lot of people at church willing to sign. So if you have any clubs, like a book club, if you're on any athletic teams, if you're into sports, or hey, even if you got your fishing buddies, make sure always keep one of those binders in your truck or in your car, and never be afraid to ask. Be like, hey, do you feel like you're being properly represented, and would you like to be? You can even ask, how do you feel Tom Cotton's representing you and your family? And a lot of people, unfortunately, will be like, who's Tom Cotton? If they have to ask who the representative is, they're not doing a good job. So make sure you talk about our campaign. It's a really big word of mouth campaign right now. So always have your binder with you. Some of the other changes for collections. The Board of Elections had told me multiple times that letter-sized paper is fine, that it'll be no problem. Their legal department said that letter size is fine. But then at the end of my last conversation with their legal department, they told me that letter size is fine, but if it was brought before a judge, they might not stand by our statement. So we decided not to give any excuse that we can give them to prevent us from getting ballot access. So we are going to be doing all of our signatures on legal size paper. I went ahead and I bought legal size paper. I'm going to be printing out at least 2,000 or 3,000 of these sheets here in the next 2 weeks. My poor printer, it's hanging in there, but we're working on it. So I'll have a lot of those printed out. Before February 1st, I will be traveling the state, another 3-day tour, going around and just handing out the new legal size signature sheets to my volunteers that already have binders and other volunteers who have since then messaged me asking for one. So we'll be doing that here. Obviously won't be this weekend. I'm hoping for next weekend. I have a different volunteer who's going to be driving around with me to help alleviate from driving 1,600 miles straight. So he's available on Sundays. So we'll probably leave Sunday for Northwest Arkansas. And I was looking at my calendar. So it's probably going to be January 19th is when I'm going to head towards Northwest Arkansas. And that's going to be all the cities from Eureka Springs. I'll probably meet y'all for coffee again. It was a great time last time. Thank y'all. So we'll meet in Eureka Springs at 9 a.m. And that's going to be next Sunday, January 19th. And then we'll go from Eureka Springs back Bella Vista, Rogers, Bentonville, Lowell, Springdale. I think I've got volunteers in all of these cities. Fayetteville, and then we'll head on down to Fort Smith, Darling, Waldron, and Mena. So that'll be a long day, but I will make sure on January 19th I can get all of the Northwest Arkansas volunteers some signature sheets. I might reach out to a couple of y'all.
Why don't you do 25th and 26th?
The 25th, I'm going to be attending a anti-war protest for the World Day of Protest in Fayetteville at 1 p.m. So I will be there. Make sure if you're in Fayetteville, 1 p.m., we're going to march. We're going to, show our solidarity and support for ending these world wars, these rich man's wars, basically, that are benefiting nobody but the stock market and shareholders. So that will be on January 25th. So January 19th, Northwest Arkansas. Oh, and I'll reach out. I'm going to see if my Russellville volunteers can maybe meet me in Fort Smith or something like that evening, and then I can get all of my Russellville people hooked up on the same day. So, let's see. That leaves us the 26th will be the next Sunday. So I'm going to plan on 126 is going to be Northeast Arkansas. So it's Northwest Arkansas. So on the 26th will be Northeast Arkansas. So we're going to start in Jasper. I'm going to try for 8 a.m., but don't hold me to it, y'all. It's a 2-hour drive out to you guys. And I know after our last meeting, you guys, some of y'all appreciated 9 o'clock better. So we'll shoot between 8 and 9. And as it gets closer to January 26th, I'll give you guys a definite time that we can meet up. And we'll start in Jasper, move to Harrison, Mountain Home, Batesville. Oh man, there were so many cities that day, I can't even remember. But Jonesboro, all those places. So we will go ahead and do that on January 26th, ending up in Pocahontas or Garland or Paragould, somewhere up there. So that'll be the 26th, and then that leaves me with just South and South Central Arkansas. Now, for South Central Arkansas, what I'm hoping to do, I'll see if maybe I can take a day off of class because my classes start next week. And I will either take a day off of class or use some PTO at work. And I'll have to let you guys know what time I'm going to be going to South and South Central Arkansas. And I'll let you know as soon as I can get some PTO in or take a day off of school. I know our first week of classes is usually pretty laid back, so I'll just talk to my professors and see what's up. So that will be, starting in Conway, North Little Rock, Jackson, all the way down to Bryant, to Hot Springs, to Mount Ida, to Arkadelphia, Texarkana. We're going to hit up all those places. And I'm going to try to get a much earlier start. If I can leave Conway by, I'd say 8:15 a.m., if I can leave Conway by 8:15 a.m., I'm hoping that this time we can make it to El Dorado and Hamburg as well. But I think we should be able to do that. All right, so that's kind of my update with the signatures. So we are beginning February 1st for signature collection. It's going to be on legal size paper. If you need to print your own out, you can go on my website, danwittcongress.us or replacetomcotton.com. There's a tab that has signature collection, and just hit the signature collection tab, and you can download the PDF file and print it out from there. It's all pre-filled out, so you don't have to worry about that. All you have to do is just sign it and get your friends and family to sign it, and then just mail it on into our P.O. box. If you don't have any legal size paper, you can go to FedEx, Kinko's. Sometimes your local library will have legal size paper you can print on as well. And if you don't have access to anything like that, and you would really like some sheets to help collect signatures at your church or something, let me know. And if you're close, then I can drive out and drop some off to you. And if you're not close, I'll try to find a time where I can drive off and drive out there and drop some off to you, or get you hooked up with a different volunteer. So fun. Let's see what else I've got on here. So next Sunday is going to be 119, and that'll be Northwest Arkansas. So that's basically all I wanted to talk about for the updates. Oh, one other thing. So I do have these different literature cards. I've got one for the federal decriminalization of cannabis. It's time to end the disastrous prohibition on cannabis that has cost so many Americans their livelihoods. We can no longer afford to fill our prisons with nonviolent, victimless offenders. The time to federally decriminalize cannabis is here, and that includes nationally expunging both possession and paraphernalia charges. So I have these cards. I've got 5,000 of these, and I want to be able to put these cards at different, tattoo parlors, at head shops, CBD stores, dispensaries. I want to make sure that anyone who's had their life impacted by cannabis in a negative way has these cards. We can legalize it, medicinally through the state all we want, but that's not going to protect us from the DEA and federal law. We have legal businesses where the DEA will come in, they'll handcuff every employee in the store, sit them out on the sidewalk, go back in, take all of their product, liquidate all their assets, then go back outside, take all the handcuffs off, let everyone go and say, y'all have a good day, we'll see you in 6 months, and do the same thing. It's legalized theft, and we need to prevent our legal businesses from being victims of this kind of crime. The next piece of literature that I have is we need to make sure every American child has the opportunity to pursue a college degree without the fear of crippling debt. In 2008, we bailed out big banks, costing American taxpayers like you and I $16 trillion after they preyed upon us and cost millions of Americans their homes. It's time that the banks begin to pay us back by eliminating student debt from their records and helping Americans to secure 2-year degrees at no cost to the student. Students will also have the option to continue to a bachelor's at no cost if they retain a 3.0 GPA. That's where I stand on education. We should all have the ability to go to college, to send our kids to college without having to worry about coming out with $10, $20, $30, $40, $50, $100, $200,000 of debt. It just makes no sense that we have created a business out of educating the members of our society. When you choose to go to school to educate yourself, you are bettering society. You're making the world a better place, and you should not be punished for it. Let's see here. These pamphlets here, I would like to hand these out at every single college campus in Arkansas. There really aren't that many of them. It's not, it's not going to be as big as getting the other cards out there. So if we can get volunteers that are students to bring these to school, hand them out. If I know Mika, they have groups like the Young Democrats of the U of A. If we could get some of these political groups, these politically active groups, to get a stack of these cards and help pass them out. Young Conservatives of Central Arkansas, all these different groups, if we can get these cards passed out, that would be great. We've really got to figure out a way to get the college students excited to vote, because the college vote is going to make a big difference this year. It really is. And we need to make sure that every student who has debt, that, works their ass off to go to school to better their future, to better the future of our society, has a way out. So those are the two different pieces of literature that I have right now. I'm working on some other pieces of literature that are going to include, protecting our constitutional rights with the Second Amendment, stating my stance against the ban of possession and transport of firearms. I know a lot of people don't like that, but at the same time, those are our constitutional rights, and we need to make sure that our constitutional rights are protected. And then the other pamphlets that I'm going to make out are for our local churches, because, our churches and our faith, it's about charity and protecting our society and taking care of each other. So we need to make sure that all of these members at our churches understand who I am, what I stand for, and that we all have the same values. So those are my literature pieces. So if you would like to volunteer to pass out any of those cards, just let me know, and I can get some of those cards to you, whether I have to drop them off or, FedEx them or USPS, something like that. That's pretty much my big updates for the week. Tom Cotton made national spotlight this week. He decided to put a bill forward to drop the articles of impeachment against Donald Trump. I don't know. All I have to say is, if he's innocent, he knows he's innocent, and he feels he's innocent, there's no reason to drop the trial. Just let it go. And the only way that you would want to stop a trial is if you have something to hide. So, it's our senators' jobs to look at the evidence provided during this impeachment process and determine whether or not a crime has been committed. That is their job. And if they can't do that job, then they need to get voted out of office. So that's my Cotton spotlight. And that's not even going into the whole war with Iran and Arkansas's top export being smart missiles. Iran, we really do not need to be going to war with Iran. Iran doesn't want to go to war with us. Iran has not invaded a foreign country in more than 300 years. They have 0 military bases outside their country. We have no reason to start a world war with them. They're backed by Russia, who's backed by China. There's just no point in this right now. The only reason that we would go to war with Iran is so that the shares of Raytheon, Boeing, Dow Chemical, Lockheed Martin, so that those shares go up so their shareholders can make a little bit of money. That's the only reason for this. And we need to make sure we're not sending our friends and our family to go die overseas so that shareholders can make a couple bucks. But yeah, that's my anti-war spout for now. That will be January 25th. It's a worldwide protest against the war. I will be at the one in Fayetteville hosted by Mr. Abel and the Omni Peace Group. So hopefully y'all can show up in Fayetteville, 1 o'clock p.m. We're going to start marching towards the Fayetteville Square. Going to hear some speeches from really educated people who have firsthand, experience and knowledge with the situation going on there, that want to share that with us so that we can better understand it. But yeah, so that's pretty much it for my update. I did want to make sure to do like a Q&A. I'm in no hurry. I've got my dinner here waiting for me. Some vegetable soup of jalapenos I'm super excited for. But yeah, I'm going to read through some of these comments real quick. Make sure I have any questions. Oh, I got it pulled up on the laptop. So let's see here. Let's move this thing around. There we go. All right, so let's start from the top. Mr. Garrett, when do we get to sign in Jonesboro? I think I answered that, but I'll hook you up with a volunteer in Jonesboro, or you can go online, print it out, sign it, have your friends and family sign it, and mail it to my P.O. Box. All of that information's on my page there. And it needs to be legal size paper. Yes, sir. We are going to make sure it's legal size paper. As much as they have assured us it doesn't have to be, we want to make sure that they do not have any excuse possible to keep us off the ballot.
No.
Let's see here. Hey, Mr. Jim, thank you for joining us. Appreciate it, sir.
You guys there.
Logos for t-shirts when the weather gets nice. Yeah, most definitely. We almost need it's crazy. Yesterday we have tornadoes. Today we've got hail. But yeah, it's hopefully going to be t-shirt season here soon. But we realized, pretty sure I'm not in the district. Monica, actually, I'm not running in a specific district. This is a federal position statewide. So as long as you're an Arkansas voter, you are more than welcome to either vote for myself or Tom Cotton. That's up to you. But you will be able to vote for me no matter what district that you're in Arkansas. Did I have any other comments on there that you see? I know it doesn't always show me all the comments on here. Oh, thank you, Miss Katie. Yeah, I wish it would show me all the comments. I don't know why it doesn't. But I've got 10 people on still right now. If y'all have any questions for me, just about me, who I am, I've been getting a lot of messages on my candidate Facebook. Let's see. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's insane it doesn't show up on here. The phone and the laptop give me different comments. But if you have any questions at all about me, who I am, I've been noticing on my candidate page, I've been getting a lot of messages asking me to, just tell me a little bit about, or tell them a little bit about who I am. Now's a great time to ask those questions. I'll answer anything, whether it's what's my favorite food or which is my favorite tie, which this is now my favorite tie. This is what my mom got me for my birthday. It's the universe. It's awesome. Thank you, Mom. I love you. But yeah, great time for questions. Can even be about policy. I know everyone loves to talk about policy and politics, but I don't mind. What Democrat candidates do I like? All right. So as far as the Democrat candidates that I like and support, I endorse Bernie Sanders. He's the candidate that I like, and he's the one that I feel is most likely to defeat Donald Trump. Donald Trump does something very, very well. He gets people excited. It may not be in the right way, but he gets people excited, and excited people go and they vote. We have to make sure whatever candidate that we put up against him can get people excited enough to go out and vote. Bernie Sanders is that person. He's the only candidate that is filling up stadiums. He's filling up stadiums to the point where thousands of people are overflowed outside. And you know what he does to those thousands of people that can't get in to see him? He will go out into the parking lot and he will talk to those people. He is just the man for the people, and he's what I want to be to Arkansas. I want to be a representative for the people. So I do support Bernie Sanders. Let's see if there's anything else on here. What is my tax policy? So That is a very good question, and taxes are extremely important to me because taxes are what's dwindling the middle class. We have gotten to the point in American society where there is no longer an American dream. The whole point of the American dream was to be able to go to work 40 hours a week, make enough money to support your family, go on a vacation once a year, and the protection to keep your job and career until you retire. Most people can't even keep the same job for 5 or 10 or 15 years anymore. And that right there has killed the American dream. It's not that they can't keep the job, but it's that jobs fall behind. They don't pay enough. We have employers like Walmart who will hire you and they'll pay you in a position for 10 years, and then after 10, 15, 20 years, after all of your increases, they'll just let you go and hire some kid out of college at half the cost and save a bunch of money. We need to make sure we're protecting Americans from that kind of predatory hiring. And, it's just very important. We've got to get back to the American dream. And I think the first part of that is to lower the tax burden on the working class Americans. Because, yes, billionaires create jobs, but we're the backbone. We are the foundation. We couldn't have the society that we have today without the working class. And that's why we need to really put the working class ahead right now and start treating them with the respect that they deserve. Our working class has been getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Our average incomes have been going down. And we really need to make sure that we change this trend and start moving in the opposite direction. With my tax plan, I want to, number one, enforce taxes on billionaires. Donald Trump won't show his tax returns for a reason. It's because he doesn't file taxes. Billionaires don't pay taxes. We need to make sure that we're closing these legal loopholes that have been put into place by legislators that have taken money from billionaires. Close those loopholes and make them start paying their fair share. I'm not saying that billionaires need to go back to 1948 and pay 93% of their income in tax. I'm just saying, let's look at a comprehensive number, a number that works for all of us. My family, we pay about 22% in taxes. Would it be insane to ask a billionaire to pay 22% in their taxes as well? I don't think so. If you have $100 billion and you have to pay $22 billion in taxes, you still got $78 billion. So one of the main things for my tax plan is tax enforcement. We need to close the loopholes that were put into place by legislators taking money from billionaires. Now, another thing that I don't really agree with is taxing employers to hire and taxing employees to work. I think we need to change the way that we take our tax revenue in. We need to tax on profits. Profit is what needs to be taxed. If we can start taxing on profit and eliminate payroll taxes, income taxes, federal withholdings, I think then we can start to move in the right direction. And we can do this by reclassifying the way we tax business. So for my tax plan, business would be broken into different categories. A small business would be any business that profits less than $1 million per year. This business profiting less than $1 million per year would pay a flat 10% tax. So this would help our mom and pop stores who are stuck paying 25, 30, 35, 39% in taxes. We don't need to be bankrupting our mom and pop stores with taxes. That way they're having a hard time paying their labor costs, because that's how we keep our wages low. The next stage would be a medium-sized business. A medium-sized business would profit between $1 million and $100 million per year. It's a huge gap. That's a lot of our businesses. Those businesses making between $1 million and $100 million would pay a flat 15% tax. And this is all just my idea. My wife, she's the tax accountant. With any kind of tax plan like this would have to be looked at with an entire group and panel of specialists, with CPAs, with tax accountants, with staff accountants, with payroll accountants, with sociologists, historians. We would have to bring a very educated, wide, diverse group together to come up with a comprehensive tax plan that works for all of us. So back to medium. Medium would be between $1 million and $100 million, and they would pay a flat 15% tax. So that would be a majority of businesses in America would be, between $1 and $100 million profit per year. 15% flat tax. That's less than 50% what the current tax rate is for these businesses. So that will help alleviate a lot of the tax burden and help our economy grow. The next size up would be a large business. A large scale business would be between $100 million and $1 billion profit per year. So these large scale businesses would have a flat tax of 20%. 20%. Our corporate tax right now is 39%. So it would go down 19%. Now, that would help a lot of big business out. That's a lot of money. Now, the next step would be giant corporations. And we would have, of course, as corporations and different classes of corporations. But a giant business would be one that profits more than $1 billion per year, and they would pay 25% flat tax, which is 14% less than they are supposed to be paying now. So with the tax plan I just laid out, everybody's tax percentages are going down. How are we going to make up for this? Where is the extra revenue going to come from? The problem is we have giant corporations that are profiting more than $1 billion a year that are avoiding taxation. That needs to stop. 93 out of the Fortune 500 companies paid $0 in taxes last year. Nothing. Nada. You paid more taxes than Netflix paid last year. You paid more taxes than Amazon paid last year. And it's things like that. Tax enforcement is what's going to allow us to lower the tax brackets for everybody else. So the revenue will still be there. And in fact, we will have more revenue in our accounts and be able to lower our deficit. We can lower our deficit while cutting taxes for everybody just by enforcing taxation. So that's my tax plan in a nutshell. It does get more complicated, but of course the tax plan is complicated. We're looking at, is it 20,000 pages for the American tax code? It's either 2,000 or 20,000 pages. It's something insane like that. So of course it will be complicated, and that's why we need a panel of experts to work on it. There will be different things to take into account so that companies won't be able to move their money around to fake the size of their business to get into lower brackets. And so instead of just profit revenue, it'll have to take into account assets and the amount of employees and different stipulations like that. But that's the gist of what my tax plan is. So let me read a couple more of these comments on here. Oh, hey, Katie. Huh? Oh, I guess this is a little bit easier. I can just do it from the phone.
There.
Ah, okay. Let's see. Field burn, most definitely. I am very proud to say that in my lifetime there has been one candidate that is actually fighting for myself and my family. I'm very honored. Mr. Jim, I've recently learned from a friend who paid a visit by ATF. The officers told him that he, as a card carrier, he's no longer allowed to own or buy firearms or buy ammunition. This seems to be a direct violation of the Second Amendment. The marijuana card. Yes. So that is part of my my cannabis legislation. Is right now, if you are a law-abiding American, you don't want to buy drugs from the street or from a drug dealer, but you want to go the legal route, show a doctor your x-rays, prove you need this medicine, get your medicinal marijuana card, now you can no longer buy a firearm or ammunition. That is unconstitutional, it is wrong, and punishing law-abiding citizens for going the legal route to fulfill their medicinal needs. We need to make sure that nationally, any cannabis card holder can purchase a firearm. It makes no sense that I can go down to the gas station, buy a fifth of vodka, and down a fifth of vodka, and go out in my backyard and shoot a gun. That is absolutely insane, but I can't go see a doctor, get a prescription, go get, an eighth of cannabis, and own a firearm. That does not make sense to me. We need to fix that, and that is part of my cannabis policy. It is against our constitutional rights. Jim, I've not heard anything such as that happening. The ATF is way bigger fish to fry. Actually, Carrie, it is true, and it's been something that I've had a lot of constituents talk to me about and voice their worry for. The U.S. paid Netflix $22 million in 2018, and they paid nothing. They actually received a refund. Yes, we taxpayers actually paid Amazon $400 million to build new warehouses, and then they paid nothing in taxes. That's the kind of crony capitalism that I am against and that I want to stop. If we can stop crony capitalism like this, we really can be great. We really can be a society where the rest of the world looks in and says, wow, you know what? I want to be part of that society, and I want to go there and contribute to it. But right now, we're a laughing stock, and we need to change that. Do I support universal pre-K? Absolutely. My daughter she'll be 7 years old next month. Oh my gosh, it goes by so fast. I understand how it is to have to pay for pre-K. It is extremely expensive. You don't know the quality of teachers you're getting. You don't know the other students that are there. We need to make sure that we are treating pre-K the exact same as we're treating middle school, high school, and college. It needs to be the highest grade. We need to pay pre-K teachers what they're worth, number one. We can't be paying pre-K teachers minimum wage to babysit our children. We need to make sure that they are making enough money that we can get really qualified people in there. If you're going to be around my child and teach them anything, you should have a college degree, at least an associate's degree. For pre-K, you should have an associate's degree, in my opinion. And in order to have an associate's degree, you have to go to school, incur debt, so you should be paid an equivalent, something to motivate you to do that. You need an incentive. So we have to pay our pre-K teachers more. We have to make sure we have quality pre-K teachers. And we need to make sure that our pre-K is funded by the U.S. government, because every American in this country deserves to send their child to pre-K. There are facts showing that children who go to pre-K do better in school. They are more likely to get a college degree. It's that start. It's that spark that gets them into learning, gets them into education, sparks that creativity. We want that, and we want children to be able to experience that, not just if you can afford it. Elizabeth Warren said it wrong, where she was talking about universal pre-K, that way parents can work longer hours. I understand the point she was trying to make, where you should not have to worry about how you're going to take care of your child because you have to go to work. But it doesn't mean you should be working longer hours just because your kid's in pre-K. So I think she just misstated herself there. Let's see. Netflix did pay $133 million in foreign taxes, but none went to the U.S. Absolutely. We need to fix that for sure. Teachers should make much more than they do. Absolutely. That's why part of my platform includes raising teacher salaries. I had a conversation with the Rural Teachers Association president in Arkansas here, and we were trying to figure out how to come up with a comprehensive way to increase teacher salaries here in Arkansas, because we have a very unique diverse teaching pay scale here. We have teachers in Little Rock and teachers up in Northwest Arkansas that are making great salaries, that make enough money to take care of their families. And then we have teachers in more, rural areas like down in Hamburg and El Dorado, Mount Ida, these little towns, that teachers are the lowest paid teachers in the country. The average teaching salary in Arkansas is $36,000 a year. $36,000. You can almost go work at McDonald's, work the same amount of hours, because teachers work a lot of overtime as a teacher, and make the same amount of money. And that is not okay, because these teachers had to go to college, they had to get a degree, and they have passion. They are good people, and we should treat them for the good people that they are and the hard work that they put in. We have to raise teaching salaries. We can do this by bringing economic boosts to Arkansas. We have the 49th lowest income in America. We can change that. What I would like to see Arkansas do, I would like to see us become the number one producer of hemp in America. We can become the number one producer of hemp. We used to be the number 3 producer back before they made it illegal. We can become the number 1 producer, we can be the number 1 exporter, and we can be the number 1 processor. We can turn this hemp into CBD oil, into hemp clothing, into hemp building materials, hemp plastic. There's so many different applications, hemp paper, for hemp, that we should really be hopping on this. There's no reason for us not to. When I went to the 67th annual Farmers Appreciation Fish Fry down in Pine Bluff, I talked to rural farmers. I heard their concerns. You know why they're not growing hemp? Because they all want to grow hemp. They do. They see the financial opportunities in it. They can't do it because they can't afford to get started. They can't afford the equipment. They can't afford the labor. We need to fix this. And it's a very easy fix, and we don't have to pay a dime more to do it. 10% of agricultural business gets 70% of agricultural subsidies. Just think about those numbers. 10% gets 70%. So corporations that are profiting billions of dollars are taking billions in agricultural subsidies, while Arkansas farmers are filing Chapter 12 bankruptcy. It makes absolutely no sense. And the only reason that this happens is because those giant agricultural corporations that are profiting billions are putting hundreds of millions of dollars into our legislators' pockets. And we need to stop that. Our government has become pay to play. You give me money, you scratch my back, and I'll scratch yours. And we can't be doing that anymore. We have to make sure that we are taking care of the Americans, of the people of our society, and by taking care and by making our society healthier, our corporations they'll get a return from that. They'll make more money. They just don't need to deregulate and cut corners to make those extra profits. Heal our society, nurture our society, and our society will make you grow in the right way. Sorry, I got kind of passionate about that part. Let's see here. Industrial farming is killing family farmers. Absolutely. There are a lot of things on my policy, on my platform, because we are facing so many different issues right now. And all of these issues that we're facing are bipartisan issues. They're issues that affect all of us. Whether you're a Republican, whether you're a Democrat, a Libertarian, a Green Party member, whether you're super far to the left or super far to the right, or right in the middle, it doesn't matter. We're all facing the same problems. And we need to make sure that we're coming together if we're actually going to come up with a solution to these problems. We have the lowest income in America. The only state... Thank you, honey. The only state that has a lower income than Arkansas is Mississippi. We need to change this. This affects all of us, not just one party or the other. We pay the highest taxes in America. It's not just Republicans that are paying taxes. It's not just Democrats that are paying taxes or anyone in between. We all pay the same taxes. We have these issues that are bipartisan that we need to come together to address. And if we can't come together to address these issues, we're going to keep trying the same thing over and over, and it's going to keep failing, and we're just going to stay the poorest state with the highest taxes. And we need that to change. If we're going to make it change, we got to try something different. So, let's see here.
Here,
There's more coming up on here.
it's more accurate than the phone.
So, Mr. Jim, do you see U.S. business sector taking on Trump over the damage that tariffs have done and are doing, or are enough big corporations benefiting from tariffs? Great question. And you know who can best answer this question? A historian. My history professor answered this question. I asked him this question. He answered it perfectly. The thing about tariffs, if we've tried tariffs time and time and time again, and the problem with tariffs is, as history shows, the only people who pay the price for tariffs are American consumers. Every single time, it's American consumers who end up paying the difference. It's never changed. It's always been the same. And if we had a president that actually went to history class and paid attention and got more than a D-, maybe he would know better than to impose tariffs. It is insane here in Arkansas. If you buy an electric vehicle here in Arkansas, trying to save money and save your environment at the same time, you have to pay a tax. You literally pay $250 a year electric tax to have an electric vehicle. It makes no sense. If you're in a different state and you purchase an electric vehicle, they give you a tax rebate. I mean, little things. Sorry, got kind of off base. But as far as like solar, we've imposed these tariffs on solar panels coming from China. Because of this, our solar prices have gone up the roof. You have to pay $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 to get solar on your house now. It's extremely expensive. And at the same time, China has become the #1 world leader in solar energy production. If we can convert light energy to electrical energy, that's what we need to be doing, because we have an unlimited amount of light energy, at least for the next 4 to 5 billion years. So we should be taking advantage of that. But yeah, tariffs, they don't help anyone except I don't even know who they help. I don't think they help anybody. It's basically just a piss and match is all it is. And these tariffs, this trade war has hurt us in more ways. And it goes back to Iran again, which I was kind of talking about a little bit earlier. So Russia and China have never really had a very good relationship, because China has always distanced themselves from Russia because they have a good relationship with the American economy. They don't want to jeopardize that. As we've been hurting our economic relationship with China, they've been getting closer and closer with Russia. That is a very dangerous scenario for us over here in America, especially when Russia is backing Iran. If you didn't notice, it was either 1 week ago or 2 weeks ago, Russia, China, and Iran were holding joint naval drills. And that just goes to show that China is getting to the point where they're no longer worried about hurting our economic ties with their alliance with Russia. So these are all little dominoes that are starting to fall that we need to keep an eye on to prevent something bigger from happening later on. But yeah, this trade war has done nothing but hurt Americans. It hurt our foreign international relations. There's just no point to it. Let's see. I'll check on here if there's any more questions. But if anyone else has any questions, I'll answer anything. I thought it's funny how Arkansas is one of the poorest states in the U.S., but has the highest minimum wage, $10 in the South, and relatively low unemployment with the 3.6, which is far lower than our neighbors Louisiana and Mississippi. So those are all very good points, and there's a reason for each of them. So even though our minimum wage is $10, it's really not $10. I work at Domino's on the weekends, and they pay me, I think it's $8.50 an hour while I'm in the store, and while I'm out delivering pizzas, they were paying me $5.25 an hour. $5.25 an hour, that's it. There are a lot of waitresses, waiters here in Arkansas that are making $2 an hour plus tips. And we need to, focus on those people right there, because these tip workers, I'm a tip worker. I understand the struggles that y'all are going through, and we need to fix that. Number one, it doesn't matter whether you get tips or not. You should be getting paid minimum wage. If federal minimum wage is like $7.50 an hour, your employer should not be allowed to pay you less than $7.50 an hour. It doesn't matter what your tips are. Tips are gratuitous. Tips are, thank you for doing that for me. Here's some money. I appreciate it. That's what a tip is. A tip isn't, here's some income, take some taxes out of it. Ridiculous. We need to make sure tipped workers are getting paid minimum wage, and we need to also, in my opinion, remove tip taxes. Less than 3% of Americans, the poorest Americans, are tip paid workers. Do you know how a lot of people making tips don't claim their tips because they don't want to get paid, they don't want to pay taxes on them. So that lowers our GDP. If we were to remove tip taxes, people would claim those taxes and our GDP would go up. Very simple, way to think about it. Another thing to think about, so with tip taxes, they are so high. When I was working full-time at Domino's for a little bit years ago, I would work 40 hours a week, and my 2-week paycheck would be like $600 or $700 or something like that. But they'd take my tip taxes out of it, and my paycheck would only be like $200 deposited to my account or less. And that's not the way that we want to treat American workers who are working 40 hours a week. But yeah, that's kind of about the minimum wage thing. So the next thing you mentioned was the relatively low unemployment rate at 3.6%. So the unemployment rate is a really interesting figure to look at, because what it doesn't take into account are people who were on unemployment and no longer qualify, who were on unemployment and it ran out, who don't qualify for unemployment. It doesn't take into account all of these little things. And I think it was 2015 or 2016, we passed a new tax bill. We cut the duration of unemployment from 26 weeks down to 20 weeks, and we lowered the amount of money people could pull from it. Unemployment insurance is insurance. It's a safety net. It's there for when something happens, so that you can still pay bills. I worked for a job here in Arkansas. I was doing cable out here, and phone's kind of wiggling, sorry. So I was doing cable out here, and one of my coworkers moved to a different business, and he did it for a little while, and he's like, hey, you should come check this out, I think you really like it. So I go and I do my interview, and they're like, okay, you're hired. So I went to start this job, and I worked there for a couple months, and they made a bad business decision, and it cost them a lot of money. So they let 3 of us go. They didn't let us go. They eliminated our position because they could no longer afford to pay for it. Just on the day, boom, no longer have a job. What am I going to do? Can I just call my landlord and be like, hey, I need you to hold back rent for, if I go get a job tomorrow, I'll get my first paycheck in maybe 2 weeks. Will you hold my rent off for a month? Is that cool? No, that's not how it works. Your bills won't just hold off. That's what unemployment comes in and does. It helps you when you need it. We need to make sure that kind of assistance is there. You can't just get unemployment if you're a bum. You have to have a job and lose your job for a legitimate reason to collect unemployment. We need to make sure that that's protected. We may have low unemployment figures, but I guarantee you more than 3%, 3.6% of the people in Arkansas are unemployed. And then it comes down to another thing about it where, you take into the account of the people who are employed, the people who have to work 2 and 3 jobs just to pay their bills to live paycheck to paycheck. I mean, I work 2 jobs and I'm a full-time student, and my wife works. And we still aren't wealthy people. We're still, always stressed about finances. Financial stress is the number 1 cause for divorce, just so y'all know. In a nation where nearly half of all marriages end in divorce, maybe we should worry about, look into financial stress and alleviate some of these financial stresses to make our relationships healthier, to raise the overall health of our society. I don't know, just a thought. So that's another thing it doesn't take into account. People working multiple jobs just to get by. You shouldn't have to work 2 full-time jobs to be able to support your family, especially if you're a single parent. It's tough being a single parent. If you're a single parent and you're paying child support to another child, do you know how hard it is? If you have, who cares if it was a bad life decision? We all make mistakes when we're young, but to go to work full-time and pay for your child living with you and pay for a child support for another one that's not, that's one hell of a parent right there, and we shouldn't be forcing them to work 2 full-time jobs just to get by. Let's see. And yeah, Louisiana and Mississippi have much higher unemployment numbers. Louisiana has the oil field, so even though their unemployment's a little bit higher, their jobs pay a lot more money. So you can go work in the oil field, make $100,000 a year easily, when out here in Arkansas, our average household income is $40,000 per year. So that's another thing we need to really work on, is raising our average incomes. We need better jobs. We need better paying jobs. We need to get rid of right to work. You shouldn't have to worry about going into your job that you've been working at for years and years just to have your manager come up to you and say, hey, by the way, we no longer need you. Have a good day. Pack your stuff. We'll have security come get you, or whatever. We shouldn't have to worry about whether or not we have a job tomorrow. Hey, Doc, thank you for joining us. Let's see here. Yeah, we do need to abolish tipped wages. Absolutely. If you're making tips, you should make minimum wage plus any gratuity that your customer feels you deserve for the service you provided. Let's see. So did we have any other questions? We're approaching about an hour now. I have no problem staying on here as long as y'all like. If someone's got more questions, I'll answer any questions y'all have. Anything at all. How can you help Arkansas get higher paying jobs? Oh, my soup's getting cold. Let's see here. I'll just heat it back up when I'm done. All right. So how can I help Arkansas get higher paying jobs? Some of the things that I would like to see done in Arkansas, at the federal level, it's not as easy to have such an impact on my local community. But I can pass legislation that will prevent, for example, agricultural subsidies from going to corporations that are profiting billions, so that we can instead focus those agricultural subsidies on our small family farmers, those farmers that need that money not to file Chapter 12 bankruptcy. Another thing that we can do is we can, bring clean energy. We are the natural state. We're beautiful. Arkansas is so absolutely just gorgeous. But one of the problems here is we're being polluted by corporations like Tyson, corporations that have zero respect for our environment. And look, we've even got coal. We're burning coal in southern Arkansas. Oh, it's clean coal. I think is that what he called it? Clean coal? Yeah, something like that. Anyways, we're still burning coal. We can change the way that we're creating energy. We don't have to burn natural gas. We don't have to burn coal. What we can do is we can focus on solar, wind, and hydropower. What this will do is we will create so many new jobs. We will create new jobs on building the infrastructure. We will create new jobs on maintaining these facilities. We will create jobs on, selling the services. There's so many different jobs that we can create, from windmills to solar farms. We have no reason not to be, getting energy from our dams that we have. We have Beaver Lake. Beaver Lake is ginormous. We've got Lake Dardanelle. We've got all of these giant lakes that we could be using to create energy. It's just not beneficial for the natural gas companies that that funnel lots of money into our legislators' pockets. And we can change that by creating these good jobs. We can, raise the wages for Arkansans. Mr. Jim, do I have plans to support developers and builders of affordable housing, perhaps retrofitting existing structures to provide housing? So, as I drove 1,600 miles through the state this month, in the last week or so, I noticed a lot of houses that are just there, overgrown with vegetation, just vacant houses. We have a lot of vacant houses here in Arkansas. How much money would it cost to fix up one of these vacant houses and put a homeless family in it? How much would it cost to fix up one of these vacant houses and sell it to a young starting family? A family that can't afford the gentrification prices that we have here, especially in Northwest Arkansas. There are a lot of ways that we can refit these old buildings to make them livable and affordable to people that work, people that deserve to have a place to call home. But yeah, I'm all down for, affordable housing. We have to have affordable housing. What is my position on net neutrality? The internet is our access to information. The internet it's for all of us. It's not just for those who want to pay more. Let me see here real quick. Let me see if I can pull up this quote I'm looking for. So, is it gone? Okay. So, December 14th, 2007, the FCC voted in favor of repealing net neutrality by 3-2. Now, let's see. So basically, the idea that all internet traffic should be treated equally with no internet service provider having power to favor one source over another through blocking, throttling, or means of paid prioritization. This makes net neutrality a crucial aspect in helping all of us play as a team. So we have to make sure that we all have the same internet speeds. I mean, if you want to pay more money for your internet to have faster speeds, all the power to you. But we cannot be throttling other people's internet because you paid more money. Another way that kind of goes into something else I've been looking into is cell phones. We need to make sure that our cell phone providers, if you are paying AT&T for unlimited internet, unlimited data, they should not be able to throttle you at a certain extent. There are so many things keeping the middle class down. Look at all the bills that we pay every day or every month. We've got cell phone bills, we've got cable bills, internet bills, utilities, gas, food, clothing, mortgage, and it goes on and on and on and on. And all of these different things we're paying are all taxed and double taxed and triple taxed and just another thing. But we're keeping the middle class down. That's why we're all living paycheck to paycheck. Some people be like, oh, well, having the internet's a luxury. Well, try to work from home without the internet. You can't really do it. People be like, oh, having a cell phone's a luxury. I do everything from my cell phone. My email, my Facebook, my campaigning. I do everything. These are necessities now. They may have been a luxury 10, 15 years ago, but a lot of these utilities and these services are now a necessity. We need to treat them that way. What are my views on nuclear energy being part of transitioning off fossil fuels? So I'm trying to get a meeting right now with a nuclear physicist from the U of A, and I've been talking with one of my volunteers a lot about thorium. And I talked to him a couple days ago in a little more detail because a different volunteer I had spoken to a week or so ago had some concerns about thorium. So what his first concern about thorium was that it's not being used. That is, it's new and not feasible. Well, there are other countries like France who are already using thorium energy. I think that we do need to start having more thorium reactors here in America because from what I've heard, thorium is a lot better. It's more accessible than uranium. It can be mined here in abundance. There's a lot of thorium. It's not going to cause any child labor. We don't have to import it from foreign nations. And it's so much safer than nuclear energy. I can get into all that, but I'm going to talk with this nuclear physicist first before I get too far into it because I want to make sure that I'm educated to the best possible means before I start talking to other people about it. But I would like to see thorium energy brought to the urban areas in America where we use wind, solar, and power to supplement urban areas and sustain all of our rural areas. We need to get to clean energy, and we need to do it now. The only reason we're not there already is because the fossil fuel industry has been pocketing billions of dollars into the legislative process to prevent that from happening. I worked in the oil field for 2 years. I saw how it works. I saw how bad it is. I saw how dangerous it is, how much it doesn't care about its employees. Do you know how many oil rigs leak oil every single day, but they don't report it because they don't want to have to deal with the paperwork and the cleanup? They just don't report it, and it happens all the time. We need to stop the fossil fuel industry from being able to funnel money into legislators' pockets, and that's why we really need campaign finance reform. It's not 91% of the time, it's 86% of the time a candidate has more money, they win the election and get elected. 86% of the candidates with more money win. Why is that? It's because, that's the way they want it. That's what the fossil fuel industry is doing. That's what the pharmaceutical industry is doing. Healthcare. All of these corporations, these giant companies funneling billions of dollars into our legislators' pockets, those are the ones that are causing a lot of the issues we're facing because they're able to do that, and we have to stop it. We have to put an end to that. Our government is supposed to work for us. It's not supposed to work for billionaires or corporations. This isn't an oligarch. We're not the United Oligarch of America. We do not need to be the United Oligarch of America. We need to be the United States of America, take pride in it. And instead of judging how great we are as a nation by the economic growth for the top 1%. We need to judge how great of a nation we are by the way that we take care of the most vulnerable of those among us. Let's see. It is expensive to live in the rural Arkansas, and the jobs just don't pay as good. Did I have any other questions on there? I'll check on the phone real quick. Net neutrality, fossil fuels. How can I help get higher paying jobs? Abolish tipped wages, all that good stuff. I've had so many great questions today. I love doing these little Q&As. I am going to continue doing these every single week. If I am at my house on a Saturday, I'll try to do them on Saturday evenings like this, just because I know more people are home. Wow, it's already 8:52. And I'll try to do them a little bit earlier than 7:45. I'm trying to get my whole little area set up here, and I was having a little bit of technical difficulties. I want to make sure this was the best experience for both of us. Let's see. Are we united at this point? How do you think we can heal as a country? We are so divided as a people right now, more divided than it has ever been. Well, not really than it has ever been. We are more divided than it has been in a long time. And it's the party politics that have pushed us apart. We have these, a few issues on both sides that both sides will cling to and, fight over, when there are a million other issues that are affecting all of us. Those two issues, we know what they are. Gun control and abortion. That's what it is. And we need to not let these two issues dictate the way that we can come together. We need to not let these two issues prevent us from focusing on all of the other issues that we're facing at the same time. Those two issues do need to be addressed, and we will address them, but we can't let those two issues hold us back. We need to start crossing party lines. We need to start coming together to focus on the issues that are affecting all of us, like being the poorest state and having the highest taxes. Those are issues that we're all suffering from together. We are divided, and that's why I feel like we need legislators that will lead by example. We don't need congressmen that are going to sit there on TV and just go back and forth and just argue and fight and not lead by example. That is a terrible example to lead by. What we need legislators that are going to work with different groups, that are going to caucus all over the place, listen to every different person's concerns, take those concerns, jot them down on a piece of paper, and come up with a comprehensive, solution that everybody can agree on, because this solution works for us all. There are a lot of solutions that work for us all that people won't even talk about, or that won't even get discovered because people are just too busy doing this. We need a mediator, and that's what I want to be in Congress, in the Senate. I want to be the person who can cross party lines, listen to these babies whine. Dang, maybe I shouldn't have said that. Listen to these men and women, their frustrations and their concerns, and, find a solution that we can all agree on. Find a solution that will help benefit our constituents. Because it's not, what's important isn't our legislators arguing back and forth. What's important is our constituents. What's important is taking care of the people that we're representing. We have to let our egos go. We have to do whatever it takes to put the people first. And if we can't put the people first, then we shouldn't be in office. That's just the way I feel about the position myself. And it's true. Each camp does have its own set of rude, loudmouth people dead set to make it harder. And, maybe those people, maybe their constituents should really think about whether or not they want someone who's dividing the two parties representing them, rather than someone who might want to bring the two parties together. Add some plants. The only problem with this room is there's no sunlight in this room. The sun comes over on that side of the house and goes over on that side of the house, so I can't have any plants in here, unfortunately. I wish I could. And I liked my live streams next to my peace lilies and orchid, which my orchid's doing wonderful right now, by the way. So maybe a very, very low light plant. Maybe a money tree or something like that I might be able to throw in here. Something super low light. Let's see. I went to Little Rock to stop the bill SB 550, and the Farm Bureau had a seat at the table as though they were elected officials. They spoke very plain about how they wrote the bill and pushed it forward. They're silk marijuana plants now, like a fake marijuana plant. Oh, I don't think I could fly that one. Some people might not like that. Let's see, SB 550. All right. House Committee. They amend the law regarding liquid livestock litter utilization. Ooh. So it does look like they were able to go in there and get it passed through the House, but it looks like on April 24th of last year, it died in the House Committee. Died on the House. So I'm not sure if it got passed or not. Let me see here. Okay, so it does look like SB 550 was voted down and it will not be voted on again. So that one is dead in the House. Yeah, you guys did great. This thing looks terrible. I don't even know why they would even bring this to vote on in the first place. Let's see. Leading sponsor, G. Stubblefield. Co-sponsor, Bentley. Wow. Insane. Yeah, I was actually... man, some of the things they vote on here in Arkansas is insane. Yeah, great job. Oh, man. I like your comment. It's awesome. Even when they voted to change the laws regarding how an independent candidate can collect signatures to gain ballot access last year, they put it forward, and within 2 weeks it was passed, and not one person voted against it. Not one. Every Republican and every Democrat voted yay to make it harder for an independent candidate to run for office in Arkansas. It's just the way they want to keep it. So it's 9 o'clock now. Did anyone have any other questions? I mean, there have been such great questions, all evening, and I do appreciate it. I like being able to talk about my policy and kind of help explain a little bit about what I stand for and why I stand for it. I get really passionate about politics, obviously. So let's see. We talked about the store. So my store is online. Go to replacetomcotton.com. Click up on the tab and hit store. And you can see all of our different campaign stuff we have on there. I've got 4 different bumper stickers. The magnets, I think I removed the magnets. I hid them for now. I'm just waiting on them to get here from the person who made them. Oh, thank you, Shannon. My mom got it for me for my birthday. I love it. It's wonderful. It's like my new favorite tie now. The car magnets will be here, I think, January 21st. So come January 21st, I'll make them available to purchase on my store again. I just don't want you to purchase them and then have to wait like 3 weeks to get them. So we have the 4 different bumper stickers. We've got magnets. We've got decals. And I guess since I have you all here, I'll just show you the decals one more time. These are really cool. I put them on for $25 on our website. I bought them. I get everything. Whenever I bought from Vistaprint, I wait until like a 50 or 60% off sale, so I got them cheaper. But, all this extra money, it's basically like a donation. It's going into my campaign funds. But this is our 12 by 18 back window decal. It's perforated so you can see through it. It's got independent for Senate, Arkansas, replacetomcotton.com. These are really cool. I'm getting a big one for the back of my car. But yeah, so those are my decals. Let's see, a takeaway for this live stream. Some of the things that I could really use some help on are distributing campaign literature. I've got these 2 different cards. These ones, if you're a student and you can take a package of these and just hand them out at your school to different friends, to classmates. This is about my stance for education, eliminating student debt. We bailed out big banks, 16 trillion tax dollars after they preyed upon Americans. I think it would be more than reasonable for the banks to just eliminate $1.6 trillion of student debt. They don't have to pay any money. They don't have to do anything but click a button on a keyboard, and they can absolutely do it if they wanted to. But I need to hand these ones out and get these passed out to every college campus in Arkansas. So if you can volunteer to help do that, that would be great. My other one I have here is about federally decriminalizing cannabis and nationally expunging possession and paraphernalia charges. I want to get these at every tattoo parlor, every CBD store, every dispensary, every head shop. These need to be all over the place. The hardest thing about this campaign is getting our name out there. While the media is running with Tom Cotton's running unopposed, it makes it hard for us to get our name out. We're just word of mouth at this point, but we're growing so fast. I mean, so important, like impressively fast. I can't believe it. So, yeah, if you can volunteer to help get those cards out, that'd be great. We'll have a guest in my next live stream. Thank you, Mr. Jim, for asking. So, Mr. Jim suggested that for my weekly live stream, I bring a guest in, someone to talk about current issues or someone involved. I support Medicare for All, so maybe a nurse I can get to come in here and give me her opinion about Medicare for All, why she thinks it is a good or bad thing, or he kind of thing. So I'll work on seeing what I can do about getting a guest. It's just so tough because I'm all the way up here in Northwest Arkansas. I have no problem bringing a volunteer supporter or a friend or someone to come, to my house and speak. I might be able to get something going where they can, maybe I can do a Zoom meeting or a YouTube live stream and they can hop in. But I'll figure something out, Mr. Jim. I'll talk to you about that because that'll make it a lot more fun, too, than just watching me talk the whole time. I don't really like to hear myself talk, so it'd be nice to have someone to talk to. Let's see. So volunteers for distribution. My store. The collection begins February 1st. Legal-sized paper. And then January 19th, I'll be doing Northwest Arkansas starting 9 a.m. in Eureka Springs. January 26th, I'll be doing Northeast Arkansas starting at 8 or 9 a.m. In Jasper. And I'll let you know, you Jasper people, which it is. It's a hard call. I might just do it at 9 a.m. I think I finished in Jonesboro last time at about 8 p.m. So it wasn't too late yet. So I'll do 9 a.m. That was a great time, and maybe I can actually join you all for breakfast this time too. Let's see. Hey, baby girl. I'm almost done. Oh, you don't have your shirt buttoned up. Let's see here. I have a question that you may have addressed. I'm new, so forgive me. I'm just curious why you decided to run as an independent rather than a Democrat. Not a criticism, just curious. So, I am not a Democrat. I believe that a representative should answer to their constituents and not a political party. Now, by definition, a political party is an institution that was created to help candidates get elected to control the flow of government. I do not believe that our government should be controlled by a corporation or by a group of people. I think that our government should be controlled by the people, that our legislators and our representatives should answer to the people and not a political party. That's why I'm running as an independent. There are a lot of issues that different parties support and don't support. And if you're part of one of these parties and your constituents don't agree with a piece of legislation that the party supports, you don't really have a choice but to go against your constituents. And I don't want to put myself in that position where I have to vote against what the people I'm representing want. A good example of that would be 67% of children born in Arkansas are covered by Medicaid. 67%. Yet our representatives are voting to cut Medicaid every single opportunity that they get. I don't want to put myself in a position where I'm forced to do something like that. Otherwise, a party's going to slap the back of my hands kind of thing. I want to answer to the people and only owe favors to the people. That's why I have a grassroots campaign. I'm not taking money from billionaires or corporations, from the fossil fuel industry. All of the money, I think it's on Inside Out, but you can come here, it's fine. All of the money that my campaign, all of our donations, they all just come from people like you and me, just regular working class people. My average donation, I think right now, is $31. I'm not going to owe favors to anybody but my constituents. And as an independent, I don't have to listen to anybody but my constituents. And that's the way that I feel a representative really has to be in order to properly be a true representative for the people. See yourself? Yeah. Oh, well, thank you, Shannon. That's just my honest, opinion on how I feel that it should be. But there's my little Caitlin. You want to say hi? She's kind of shy. But yeah, were there any other questions that anyone had? I hope I hear Lily calling you in the other room. Let's see. Oh, I think we'll have a guest. Why an independent? Oh, I know. I see you draw all over. It's burrito, huh? Is that a chicken? What is it?
I don't remember.
That looks like a little person right here. But all right, people, thank you so much for taking the time out of your evening to join us, to ask questions, to hear about our updates and what's going on. My name is Dan Whitfield. I'm the independent candidate running for United States Senate. My website is replacetomcotton.com. And, thank you guys so much again for taking the time out of your busy night. I know it's Saturday night and a lot of people will hop on a live stream and watch. I'll do my next one on next Saturday evening with just another update for the week, a quick, update with my store, any new swag that I got in there, and, y'all have a good evening. Well, y'all have a good evening, God bless y'all, and God bless America.
Bye-bye.